All right, let's get started. Welcome to the program. Right on time, scheduled, easy. Well, I guess you reached out in that way on YouTube that you could use sessions. So I guess give us a little bit of a short intro to your character, where it's at, and what I could help you with today.
Okay. Just lived 2 days ago.
Grats.
So, I feel like I've reached my goal in almost every aspect, and now I'm kind of lost.
Okay, so your goal was living.
My goal was soloing BM, and I just did. So
You did? Very nice. You did that as your, like, lib run?
Yeah.
Like unlibbed solo, and then that was your last run to... Okay, very nice, very nice. Yeah, that's what... Well, yeah, so that could be a thing. I tell people a lot, like, because Liberation takes so long, a lot of people have, like, I want to do Black Mage and I want to lib as a goal. And then you're doing that for 8 months, so you're not really thinking about what to do after. And then when you finally lib, it's like, well, now what? Like, the next things are so hard. So have you done anything that would be considered already like past Liberation, I guess, like into the grandest bosses and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. I think in 2 weeks I'll get my first Eternal, and I've been running 8-7 for a while now, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's the party, like which bosses is that, and like what is the party size for those bosses?
Well, I'm running e-calendars. I used to have a party, and then my schedule got a bit hectic. So then
Mm-hmm.
I basically, after running with the party for like, I think 5 months, 4 months, 5 months. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
5 months. And then I basically told them that I couldn't make it anymore. So then I just ran up from that.
But that was just, so that was only e-Kalos, or was that also like e-Kaling and...
Oh, it was together. It was together. It
Yeah,
was
okay.
e-calendars and 8-0.
E-Kalos and H7. Yeah, I got you. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's kind of like the first set, right? And then the next one would be to see if you can scale up to normal Kalos and e-Kaling, and then typically around that time people also start breaking up the Saren party so that you have more chances for the badges for everyone. It's kind of the general progression. But I guess since you had to break up the party, so you're running just pugs now for both?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably try to find a party soon, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're able to... How long was the Black Mage run?
Well, about 40 minutes.
Okay. Did you do the rebuy G skill thing
Yeah, but I probably
during the run?
lost like 500, 600 bills that day. Not
That,
bills, sorry, mills.
I was gonna say, wait, what did you did you like double prime an emblem at the same time? Where did that money
No,
go? For like practice runs, you did like a lot of attempts.
no, so that's actually the sad thing about it. So, I cleared in practice. I didn't clear in a real run because I
Uh huh.
couldn't do it. I failed, I think, in P4 like 4 times. So I couldn't
Damn.
get the achievement, but yeah.
Well, now with Liberation, you can definitely do it. You got a very
Yeah,
nice
that's what I.
flame and a very nice potential already. Did you have? Did you run out of souls? Is that the assumption I can make from
Yeah.
this? Okay. Well, I mean, there is a Magnificent Soul event coming, right? Do you have like a decent amount of bossing mules that can bring in souls?
I only have 5 bosses, but I don't enjoy bosses. So I don't like them.
You don't like the characters themselves, or just the bossing, like the repetitiveness
I
of having to do?
I feel like if I have half an hour, I'd rather grind for half an hour rather than
Yeah.
not
So it's more like a
boss.
limitation on the
Like,
total amount of hours that you play, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Gotcha.
basically.
Yeah, because then you're making maybe less money, but you're also getting fragments, and you're also, in terms of getting your character stronger, the half hour. If you have limited playtime, if you spend every half hour on your main, it's probably still better value for progress, right? You can check out the matrix a little bit, but I'm assuming it's built quite well. Oh wait, am I scrolling
Wait.
past that?
It should
Oh,
be at
right
the
here. Yeah,
top.
yeah, it's way on the top. Yeah, yeah, I got you. So you were okay. So looking at these levels, so you were already. What level were you when like the 6 shop came out?
I think I was 265.
Okay, gotcha. And are you doing anything with the? I guess with the new areas coming out, are you doing anything with the familiars? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
something?
exactly what I'm doing. I think that's why I'm leveling very slowly.
Yeah.
It's just basically grinding burning sun because
Uh-huh.
my fam are bad.
Large here. Yeah, so you're just trying to chase some boss damage right now. Yeah, because I'm trying to see if it's like
Yeah,
comparable
or
to my
even a large
DA.
shield because I don't even have. I only have one large shield.
One what?
I only have one large shield, so even
Oh
if
yeah.
I get another like 2
Yep.
more, and I'll be happy with that.
That can help as well. Yeah, I guess that's also if you're like low lives in BM P4, then switching to healing fams there can also help a lot.
I ran heal fam to have time.
Yeah, I guess you already did. Yeah, 15 IED on a on a DS is not gonna
Yeah,
help all that much. Yeah, maybe on the 380 PDR bosses, but even then. So you use the I guess another thing to look at for that is the interoperability. What's your idea with interoperability when it comes to like the cooldown reduction and all that stuff? Or because I think that's mostly for more
uh,
iframes, right? If you're soloing.
yeah. They say that you get better damage uptime if you have more iframe too. But what happened was I just kept rolling, and then the buff duration came up first as a max. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, why not?
Yeah.
That was another option.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have a pretty prolonged burst, so longer duration of terms
Yeah,
of
now I don't
terms
have
and
to worry
conditions.
about making sure my origin fit in the AB link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's easier for that. Okay. So is it? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some clear goals that you could set past where you are now. Liberation does make easy culling and even going into normal culling if you get more damage. Although you're already, quite up there. I imagine if you were to, so like party size and damage wise, have you done the Scouter at all to kind of see like where you're at with that?
No.
Okay.
I
Because
normally don't really like doing BAs. I just like to jump into the
mm-hmm.
boss and fight.
Yeah,
Then
that's
with
why.
parties, you kind of just do that.
Yeah, and every party is different. Of course, you have different synergies and everything. I think the Scouter is good in that sense that it makes it so that you don't have to do BAs. So you kind of like run artificial BAs with the Scouter, and then it kind of already tell you like what it's most likely going to be roughly. But if I were to look at these stats and seeing that even though you may not have been able to clear the BM, but if you got into P4 a bunch of times, that already tells me something about at least like your level of determination and base level of skills and level of damage and everything. So I would be shocked if you weren't if you would be able to do like a 3 to 4 man, probably like 3-man hard Saren pretty easily, and be able to join normal Kalos and easy Kale very easily. Probably also not full party, anything like maybe like a 5-man normal calling, like, and even like a 4-man or even like a 3-man easy calling, because I think you're going towards normal calling if you get practice in there. But I don't know if that's something that you want to do.
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't think I even done e-canning once.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
We used
one
to
time.
jump in for fun with my whole parties, and then we just fail within like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We had no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one time has to be the first time, right? I'm definitely someone who's also like when new stuff comes out, I don't feel that pressure to immediately jump in, and I kind of just get to it when people around me want to go as well, and then I'll join them. Like with Black Mage, I was also really late for that, even though I had more than enough damage for a long time. Because I don't really, I never really had that goal to like push to the next thing. But I guess it seems like you are kind of looking for like what is the next goal. I mean, like Eternals and pitches, and then maybe potentially finishing up your special rings. I don't know where the special rings are at.
No,
You
I
have
just wrote it down. I have Fun 4, Raw 4, and BJ 3.
okay. Okay, so just one level there to gain. Okay, and then pitch wise, where are you at with that?
I am all set, and I have a belt at 22. 5, I guess.
5. Oh yeah, 5 fuke with the belt. And what is the heart situation? Do you have any of those temporary hearts?
I have 5 of them, but I've never popped one before.
Mm-hmm. And did you consider popping one for the BM solo to get more damage there?
I was gonna, but then I got the clear in practice, so then I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, you felt like I proved my point. I don't need the.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. Well, because with the belt plus because is the belt otherwise also upgraded like Star for potential and
Yeah, 22.
and flame wise?
No. Oh no, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
I got excited after I got the flame and the potential for my weapon. So then it was already 30% off. So I just went and tapped.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it goes. Yeah, because
And
I think
it went.
with the heart you could be 6 set. I think that would give you a huge boost if you would like finish up the belt, and I think that would also make it so that it's worth switching out of the superior at that point.
I was thinking, do I not need to wait for like one more piece?
So
I know 7 set you can switch out, but 6 I wasn't sure.
Yeah, historically we always said like 6 for some classes, 7 to be safe. But the thing is, it kind of depends on which pieces you're switching, because the more you have of the level 200 pieces, the faster you can switch out because they're a bigger improvement on the superior pieces. So like if it's like the earring, the belt, the ring, like those are the higher level pieces with a lot more stat and a lot more attack. And the other thing is that because it, the heart
my
covers
belt
the.
not in there. Thought I got it in.
I see the belt here in the inventory. It's like unique here.
No, it'd be in like second to last page.
Oh wait, all the way down. Oh yeah, here, yeah, I see, yeah. Yeah, so the plus flame crystal, yeah. But so with that, so you see because it's like plus 145, plus 106, right? Those stats are just really high. So that'll help you switch. Now, attack-wise, it's almost the same as the superior, right? Because the superior is ridiculously strong. But stat-wise, you'll make a big improvement plus the potential. And the idea is that because the damage heart comes with 30 boss and 30 IED, that's basically covering the superior set. And you would still always need a lot more stat, but because they switched the final damage to the Legion artifact system, and there's also more boss and IED in there, and damage percent, the general consensus is that you can switch to pitched a bit earlier and it still be an upgrade. So mathematically, I'm like 99% sure that if you were to equip a heart and finish up the belt, if you switch now, that you would already see quite a big damage increase as well, just because the damaged heart, if we turn it into real heart, also comes with 77 attack on it, which is a huge, just that already makes it give you more damage than a fairy heart if it's 3-line stat.
But that would only be for a bit, right? Because I only have like 5 hearts. I don't have I don't have a H lotus of meal at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's something that you would have to look at if it's something that you want to consider doing that as, like a permanent thing, then you can't do that yet, right? You have to build more consistency on hard lotus meals first. But you could use that intermittently if you are trying to do, some people use them, for example, if there's like a Punch King event and you're trying to like cap out the Punch King event for more EXP, they'll use that one for a while, for example, so that for like 2 or 3 weeks, they can cap it out instead to get more damage. Or just to feel how much stronger you really are, to see if it's worth switching to. If you have 5, you don't have to sit on them forever, but you also don't want to waste them, right? So I understand that. I sat on mine for a long time as well before I started switching. Before I had a lot of hard lotus mules, and then I started switching over permanently with my arc when I was at 7 set back then, but that was a while ago. But yeah, I'm breaking even now. I'm in surplus, but I have I guess technically 11 hard lotus clearers now. So that's a different order of magnitude to try to keep up the heart. But yeah, ideally I go into extreme lotus now, get the permanent heart, and then I can start using the temporary hearts on the next character basically to bring them up. But yeah, I don't know if you have in your head like this is how many damaged black hearts you would want to have before you would consider switching it.
I was thinking the other way. I think I was like, oh, I'll wait for like one more pitch, and I'll see.
Mm-hmm. But then you still wouldn't be able to like transfer it over permanently, right? Because it's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you have 5.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation, right?
Because I feel like that would be such a huge investment. Because I think with hard lotus now too, because like the boss is so different. I feel like I have to learn. Okay. Because right, I remember the first time I learned H lotus, like it was like the hardest thing ever, and now I find it to feel like very easy.
Yeah, I imagine you blow it up now.
Like a 3 minutes run or like 2 minutes run or something.
Yeah.
And then having to learn the whole thing again on another character just sounds awful.
It is faster though, if you already know the boss's behavior and the patterns and everything. You do learn way faster on extra characters if you were to do it. From personal experience, I can tell you that.
That's true, but then he just got revamped.
Yeah.
And now he's weird.
Yeah, I've got my characters to the point where all of my runs were like 10 minutes or lower, so even though they're a bit more annoying, they're still manageable because, even though the patterns are quite different, the real thing to learn is that the HP distribution between the stages is very different now, right? So where before a mule would just blow up P1, maybe do like a small burst on P2, and then do like 2 or 3 bursts at P3. Now you basically have to burst P1, and then burst P2, and burst P3. And that's kind of like the division now. So for some mules, it's actually faster now. For some, it's a bit more annoying. But I think a lot of it is also just learning all the new patterns, and probably just holding the... Fuck, I'm blanking. Because I keep mixing up Genesis and Origin. You could do the Origin for P3 and just really like fully unload, and then you could probably already like chunk almost half of P3 and get out of there a lot faster than you think, because the other stages are stronger comparatively, but a lot easier comparatively to P3 now still. But yeah, you'd have to have a bunch of characters at 260. If you have any special rings, that helps a lot, right? If you get them full arcane. But you don't seem to really want to have a whole bunch of side characters up to that level now, or is there something that you feel like you have time for because you're just mainly working on the familiars on the main now?
I mean, now I feel like I have time. I think before I was just had too much to do. I think like I was I literally was doing daily for like 15 minutes a day, or like half an hour a day, and then I just basically jumped on and practiced PMs. I think I did that for like months. But then now probably I'm freer, so I probably will work on my personal a bit more. But I don't know why. I feel like every time I play other character, I just want to jump back into my main. I try Dawn Warrior. It's very strong, but I don't like the mobility too much. I tried Nightwalker.
Very horizontal, right? A lot of rushing and dashing.
Yeah, thing in air really.
Yeah, Buck has more options.
I just feel like I miss Glide on every character I play.
Yep. Yeah, Glide is addicting. I mean, there's a few other characters with Glide, right? Yeah, of course, Corsair has a version of Glide. Demon Avenger, Best Demon, has a Glide.
Yeah, I've never liked Demon Avenger. Sorry.
Why?
I know you may
it's
not.
So good. It's like the best demon.
played them when they were really bad, so I think the image got stuck.
If you like the
So
mobility,
like,
then there's nothing closer to Demon Slayer, at least for the gliding part.
yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll try them out.
I mean, there's no chaos lock,
It's
right?
still-
That's a difference.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's also. Yeah, so I feel like every time I try a different. The only thing I really like was Backstab from Nightwalker. That was pretty cool. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's a different mobility that I've never seen before.
I guess Shade has something kind of similar, where they have like a back teleport. But yeah, not too many other characters
Yeah, but
have that.
Shade feels super weak. I'm trying to make into like a move. It's at 235 right now. And I tried. It feels super weak for some reason. Maybe because I haven't found it enough.
Yeah, I don't know the exact level of funding on all the characters, but Shade is mostly just
sorry.
tanky and survivability, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's good
Okay.
at.
I don't know how to play it too well yet. So.
Yeah, I have to look at Shade as well. It's got some weird. I think they redid it a little bit, and then there's a rework for Shade coming as well. So don't work too hard at learning this class now, okay? Because then you're gonna have to relearn it again when the changes come. You're gonna have the same
I feel
problem
like
with
what
Lotus.
put me off sometimes is I take a while to like learn a class, and every new character I have to learn like a new set of skills. So then it's I feel like it's too hard.
But
And you know, like even up jumping, like when then I get back to my main, yeah, it's muscle memory. But then when I'm on the other character, because Demon Slayer has such a weird up jump, like the double tap arrow, and normally I think every other class have like double tap spacebar or something.
Yeah, there's three
So then
different
it's
up
like
jumps
even
in the
that
game.
sometimes I'm jumping in air and it's like, oh, I'm not going up, and then I'm dying, and then I was like, oh, never mind, I forget.
Yeah, that's a bit of the downside. I mean, I'm playing a lot of different characters. I usually have similar functions of keys on similar buttons, right? Similar functions of skills. Like
Yeah, I
keydown
feel like I
skills
tried
go
to
the
do that
same.
too. Like, okay, all my bursts in a line here, main attack like on E or whatever, and then
whatever
iframe
makes
on
sense.
like yeah. So there's like iframe on the same spot and everything. But then it's just I don't know.
Yeah, the mobility that stays a thing, honestly, because there's 3 different up jumps in the game, and it definitely happens when I'm like switching boss mules that I start like weirdly jumping into things, and it's like, oh fuck, I have to switch.
Like I have a DB, and like the up jump is not even a jump. You just have to
up jump. What is that?
So.
Yeah, they don't have the up jump.
It's like yeah,
up
it
slash.
is. It's just,
yeah, they all have their strengths and their weaknesses.
That's true. Well,
so
I feel like mobility is so important in bosses because it's just make you die and not die.
Yeah, the further you get, the more. I think the more you find functionality in the mobility in terms of like verticality as well. Because a lot of times when we have a 2D game, but I always look at it like when you have like a 3D MMO, and then it's like, oh, they have 3D, they can dodge so much better. It's like, well, a 3D MMO is basically a 2D MMO. Like most 3D MMOs, they don't really go in the, I don't know, is it the Z-axis at that point? Like they don't really duck under things, so they don't really jump over things most of the time. They just have a flat plane that they move in. So you have to see our game as also a 2D game instead of a 1D game where you just move left to right. You actually, verticality becomes very important, and then blink and staying in the air and dashing in the air and that kind of stuff. And sometimes even using skills in the air that keep you airborne, right? Like your origins in certain positions. That's something to really utilize the further you go into boss fight. Otherwise, you just have that line on the ground to dodge. That's very limited in terms of where you can go. But yeah, I mean, exploring that on new characters in the beginning can definitely be challenging. I guess in the past, my characters were always, they started very low level, so I had to do very easy bosses first and then slowly build it up. But I guess now, because with the events, you could just build a character up to 240 or up to 250, up to 260 without even actually playing it, just by doing some dailies and throwing some coupons and some potions at it. I guess you get at a point where you're expected to do way harder bosses on it already when you don't even know the basic mechanics of the character. Like, does it even have crit rate? Like, where do my debuffs come from? Like, you have to really start reading your descriptions of your skills and
Yeah,
because
I feel like that's
yeah,
what happened. Yeah,
that could be trickier. Yeah,
because
I
I
get
feel
that.
like I have to keep learning new classes every time I'm having more
hmm
boss too. It's just,
Well, there is a
yeah, I feel
solution.
like that's the tiring bit.
There is an amazing solution for your problem that I have for you
What
right
is it?
now, and that is just
Overfund it?
make just make Demon Slayer boss meals. You're welcome.
Oh god.
Yeah, just make 10 Demon Slayer boss meals. You have
The
the
Demon
character
Slayer needs
slots?
so much nodes. So much nodes.
Well, but you won't need as much when you know exactly how the character plays already. You'll be able to squeeze way more potential out of the character with way less, because you already know exactly how to play with it.
I know, but I feel like that just feels wrong.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to do it, but that is an option that a lot of people overlook. People always look like, and it seems in your situation that you are, I'm not saying like reluctant or unwilling, but like just not gravitating automatically towards learning a bunch of characters. You're not really interested in learning the in-depth about another character, even though you know that it's very beneficial, clearly, for your account and for your character, right? So I wouldn't be opposed to you having like a few extra Demon Slayers as bossing mules. Because again, you have character slots, you have plenty of Legion, right? So you can make some extra without really losing any value for your account. But you will gain a lot of value in terms that you don't have to fund your characters nearly as hard because you already know exactly how to play them. So you can get way higher efficiency out of them. So that's something that I would say just consider it, you know? And yeah, you want for Demon Awakening, you want a lot of nodes, right? But every event now, the event shops have been getting better, and for a lot of events, there's a lot of free nodes in there. So, I mean, instead of putting them towards
Yeah,
characters that
I
you...
think I have like 1,000 save up, then it
Mhm.
should be okay.
I mean, I think if with,
But
if you have a lot of other funding, I think with like 200, you can easily make a Lotus Sandamian mule. Just to get started, to get the clears. And then you can always go from there to see if you want to push them further. But I think making boss mules that you don't really want to learn or you don't really want to play is a really good way to make you hate the game. So if you want to have more enjoyment and want to look forward to the bossing in terms of like it's helping your main character. Now if the flip side is that you just don't have as much time for boss mules as well on top of that, then I would say just like grinding more in
yeah,
the main or finding a more healthy balance
that's also
between
true.
yeah. Finding a healthy balance between working on familiars versus training on the main, and doing more alteration there between those two would be a good idea. But that comes back to like what's your goal overarching for the character, right? Now that you reached the solo BM, now that you reached liberation, if you don't have an overarching goal of like a level that you want to go towards or a level of strength that you want your character to go towards, it can be hard to find the motivation for that. If you're just doing like, well, I guess I do familiars now because I don't have boss fams, but it doesn't really, there's no real passion in there, right? There's no real, the only goal there is purely an RNG goal of like hitting, but there's no guaranteed goal there. So there's the possibility that you spend months doing that and you don't hit anything. And then it's like, well, what the fuck am I doing? Because you're also not,
I
right?
feel like I have some goal, like I want to solo 8 Siren and
Okay.
Ikalos, and eventually Ikaling, but I think a lot more further. But, yeah, but I feel like those are very far away because I'm not even 280 yet. But then I'm also not leveling to 280 in like my proper area because I want to get farmed. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
everything is getting.
Are you doing
That.
the symbol dailies, the Monster Park, all of those kind of Monster Park Extreme, all of those dailies for the daily EXP at least?
Yeah, but I also have days where, like, that day I lived, so I was tapping for so long, and that day I was just like, I got bothered doing daily, so then I didn't do it.
Yeah. It's always better to have like, better. It's more consistent to have as a general idea that you're gonna do your dailies every day, and then you miss a day here and there. Then that's not a big deal. It's more like if people do their dailies only when they feel like it, and then they still miss some days, then it's almost like you're doing them as weeklies, and then then it's even harder to see
I
that
do them
general
normally, but
progress.
yeah, I do them normally, but yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
do. And when I like you said, when I feel like it, I do miss it.
And do you feel like you're behind a little bit on Sacred because of that, or is that not too bad of a?
No, I think my sacred is 360 right now. I think.
Let's check here on the stat. Yeah, it said here 360. Yeah. Okay, so if the goal is to solo Heart Saren, how far have you gotten with that?
I haven't even. I think I tried P1 a few times and I just died out. So not yeah. Just basically. I feel like I haven't even started.
But you had cleared Heart Saren before in party, but that was like 6-man, just kind of like nuke it kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we were basically finished before the first, what do you call it, the DFA.
First cycle, yeah.
Yeah, we finished right then, basically.
Yeah, normal and hard are very different, but it could be good to just feel more comfortable with normal first, and then move on to hard. I don't know. Sometimes sometimes it's worse to do like a different version of the boss and then to move on to a harder version of the boss if they're too different. But sometimes it's not perfect, but it's still better than coming in from a completely different boss with completely different mechanics. If you don't do a lot of practice. But I don't know how you tend to learn. Some people learn by just, spending like 3 hours and just going in over and over and over. And some people learn better by doing like...
That's what I do.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I was getting the vibe. Okay. So what you could do is you could do just normal practice first, just to get used to all of the different stages a bit more. And just to get better at the size of the hitboxes and everything, because that's going to be the same. And then once you just feel very comfortable in normal, then you can move on to hard, because with hard, like the pillars in P1 are faster. But if you already, you're used to seeing them and you're used to dodging them, all you have to do is just do that a little bit better, versus that being a completely new mechanic versus another boss, right? If you're not used to it. So the problem with longer runs is just survivability and knowing when is it like really like an oh shit situation and when do you have to iframe versus when can you kind of get out of the way or just tank something and just heal later and you can save your iframe, right? And I think that comes from experience and that comes from doing the boss. So I would probably do like normal first, but focus on dodging. So try to focus not on what can you tank and what you can't tank, because the damage percentages are going to be different, right? And ideally you don't get hit because of gauge and all that stuff, right? So I think once you get better at dodging and normal and start really, maybe just jump into P1 also and try not to damage, but just try to dodge everything for a while. That can also be useful. And then try to weave in damage as you have time, or just do the burst perfectly and then just only dodge, and then you can always build up to making the run faster with throwing in DPM once you get way more comfortable with dodging everything.
I was wondering though, does H-Serin come before E-Kalos or E-Kalos come before in terms of like soloable?
In terms of solo, I'd have to check, but they're basically at the same spot because they require the same arcane power. So because like we were saying before, right, like you had a party with E-Kalos and Heart Saren, and I think that makes sense that they are like on that same level. I think they also changed them in the boss content guide here to just be on the same, to be in the same stars. I can check for damage, I guess. Easy Kalos, Heart Saren. Heart Saren is level 275 and Easy Kalos is level 270. So you won't deal full bonus damage to Saren yet, but you will to Kalos. And for P2, they're both 200. And yeah, Saren has more HP. So Saren, for the 5%, you have to do... So this is what, it's like 6.3 T difference. So that's 5%. So that times, times 19? Yeah, so the HP for Heart Saren is quite a bit different. So I think, I think like a normal Saren solo first makes more sense, and then an easy Kalos solo, and then Heart Saren will be easier once you get closer to 280. And I guess that's the other overarching goal, right? If you're trying to solo these bosses, the levels of your character have all kind of been following the other requirements, like how strong you are and your sacred power and all of that. But once you get like once you get to like normal Kalos and maybe like into normal culling, then your personal level is really going to start mattering more. You can see like a normal Kalos P2 is 280. You're still pretty close to that, being able to do full damage, being able to go in like a, or you know, 100
I do
baseline
want to
damage.
go into Hellux.
Yeah, and doing it in a party, that will be fine, because if I see how strong your character is and you're that close with the, or you did the BM solo in practice mode, unlived and everything, I'm sure you're ready for that, you know. The thing is, like, if you're trying to go into normal culling, that's when the jump to level 285, that's when it starts getting pretty big. And then you have extreme BM is kind of an outlier here, still only 275, 280, but just is really, really tanky. But then everything is like 285 basically. So that's when the level requirement is going to become more of a thing. But I guess the hope is that by the time you get to 280 with dailies and with FAMs and everything, or that you get close enough to the FAMs that you want by the time you get to around 280, that you can then decide for yourself, like, do I just want to go back on the grinding train, go into Arteria, and start getting some real EXP? Or do you want to do something else with your account at that point? But you're already well on your way with pitch, so that's nice. And slowly but surely, I guess, with Eternals. But yeah, that's very hit or miss, those pieces. Those pieces will help a lot, of course. But up to normal Kalos, easy culling, and then hard Saren.
Oh yeah, that was one of my questions. I think
Mm-hmm.
my question's at the bottom. I think one of my questions is, how do you go about Eternal? Because I think in my CRA, my hat is and but then I know people normally start with hats. So then they're like, do you go for that, or do you go top and bottom?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways that you can switch over. Some are more risk averse. Some depend on having more pieces. Some will depend on how well the first piece goes, and then they adapt. So essentially, from all the things I've been hearing, if you can go for like 3 18-star pieces, it's a small upgrade already, and you can switch into that. If you just get one of each and get them all to 18, that's very low risk of booming. If you get at least one of those to 19, then I think it's worth more of a consideration to immediately upgrade. But technically at 18 it already is a small upgrade. But what some people do, like you said, is go for the hat first and just try to tap it all the way. Because like a lot of classes depend on cooldown reduction on the hat, and they want to make sure that they're confirming immediately like the hat that they're going to stick with, and that they keep their cooldown reduction and they keep their playstyle intact when they switch over. And then with the liberated weapon that you have as well, that means that the 2 set will apply immediately when you have one piece on, and that 2 set already, I believe a 21 hat will also already be an upgrade. So if you're a bit more risk averse and you want to move in, then you can also 21 hat switch. But yeah, if you're doing more like a long-term, slow and steady approach, you can also just wait. But then if you're only doing easy, that means another 20 weeks of Ikalos Ikaling, right?
I think that's basically why I probably should get into Ikalos, probably. Properly.
Yeah, on the one hand, that seems like it's forever, but on the other hand, it's way faster than what pitch is on average for most people. So, in context, on paper it looks horrible, but like compared to pitched, it's actually solid. Like I think most people would sign for that kind of rate of progression on pitched, right? There's many people have been running for months and then they have never seen one. But yeah, I think with your damage, if you were to look for like maybe a duo, but like a 2 to 3 man Art Saren, whatever you're comfortable with there, and for like a Kalos Ikaling setup party, I think you'd be able to do just fine there. I'm actually recruiting for one if you're interested. Trying to set up a party. I've got some people who want.
I'll have to basically figure out my schedule properly, and then But the thing what happened in my last party is I keep missing it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
They were strong enough to clear as a 5. So then me going missing didn't make too much of a difference, but still, like, I felt
if there's that mismatch, it doesn't feel right.
so wrong keeping everybody waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's understandable. Yeah, it'd be a pretty new party with people who haven't done culling yet, but who have done easy Kalos, but then moving up to normal. We'd have to. A lot of that is also just seeing what the party can do, you know, and see how you can how you can divvy up your damage and what kind of
I feel like E-Kalos, like when you do E-Kalos, you don't really have any mechanics to
No.
interact with.
No,
just
you don't.
burst through it.
Yeah, you just burst through it. Yeah.
And like you don't really need to shoot any of the system or like
No.
you know
Mm-hmm.
or any of that. So then that's why I was thinking like in E-Kalos it's just like a dummy in a way, and then
Yeah.
just jump around the test.
Essentially, yeah. If you're strong enough for
And I'm
normal,
sure
it becomes that as
N-Kalos,
well.
you don't do that either.
You could, yeah, but it's one of those things where when you know that you can kind of go through the boss that way, that's when the people who have like the ambitions, that's when it's a good time to start thinking about the next difficulty of the boss instead, to like scale up basically. And the difference is just for Kalos and Culling is so great that you just double up your pace to getting the eternal pieces, right? It's just the jump from easy Kalos to easy to normal Kalos is a lot easier than the jump to normal Culling because you get the extra 5 levels, which are way harder to get, right? Levels past to 80, plus the HP jump is way bigger. If you see normal Culling here versus easy Culling is 4 times the damage. When you look at easy Kalos versus normal Kalos, it's barely 3 times the damage. So the jump is not as much because of the levels and because of the HP. Yeah, and because of the changes to the system.
And Culling is like a long time. I think people normally get like, not cap, but N-Kalos and E-Culling, right? Because N-Culling is very far.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think small party, hard Saren, and then normal Kalos E-Culling party setup, I think is a good thing to aim for. So then you're basically in this blob here, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like this. And then you do smaller party here. And then, yeah, it says Extreme Lotus here next. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like Extreme Lotus is put a little bit too low on their list. I would put Extreme Lotus between normal Culling and Chaos Kalos, or even slightly above Chaos Kalos now with how much they made Chaos Kalos easier, I think, in terms of damage requirements, because this is a 2-man party at the most. So I'm not sure about this ranking myself personally, but maybe people can disagree. The boss really has only come out very recently, so...
Yeah, I mean, you don't get, like, Sacred Force or Arcane Force, any of that bonus, too, so I assume the damage is...
Yeah, he's got like a quadrillion... I think we put the Extreme Lotus... yeah, for 5% is 90.5 T, but that's on a 2-man, and this is on a 6-man, so you're also going to have more party synergy, and it's barely triple. So I feel like this is where it should be, like just after, and then but then before Extreme Saren, right? Because Extreme Saren is like 4 times the HP, and it's a 285 requirement as well. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I have to get those levels. But then I can't get those levels because I'm farming farms.
Yeah, I think it's fine to do farming fams and just dailies and kind of like to 280 and kind of figure out what you want to do in your situation when it comes to bossing fams. If you want to work on bossing fams, I
feel like I want to close that chapter off, kind of. Just like even with 1 or 2 or whatever, like, or even like if worse comes to worse, just healing fams. I just want to be like, okay, I'm done. Like done enough with fams, so I don't have to like carry on with it, kind of.
Yeah, you can do that. You can set like a max of I'm gonna make, I don't know, like 100 uniques or whatever. Like put a number on it, and then when you reach it, you'll be like, what I get, and when I don't get, I move on, kind of thing. Or so what I was saying, like I think either you look at whether you want to build up some boss fams. So what seems like a middle ground for you is if you have only a few boss fams, but those boss fams do a lot of bosses and go pretty far and make a lot of money. and are worth their time, basically, so that they're worth the nodes that you put in, worth the investment in. But maybe you only pick like 3 characters, maybe 1 or 2 that you like the most, and then you add a Demon Slayer or something, and then you just fund those, and you do bosses on those, and like that's it. And then for all the other extra time, quote unquote, that you have, that you just spend that time grinding on actual EXP on the DS instead, on your main, rather than that being either farming or a boss meal that you don't like.
Okay. So basically, farm a boss meal kind of like hard and all the way, not all the way, like.
Yeah, I would say at least like hard lotus at least, and then like other, you know, maybe do like easy lucid, easy will, normal slime, hard lotus, and then everything below. Like kind of that as like the lowest level of funding for a character, and then maybe have like 2 or 3 of those on top of your main, and then and just stay with that, so that like not too much of your time is going towards bossing mules, and not too much time is going towards, oh fuck, I have to boss on this mule. I don't actually want to do that, you know. And so you don't have
too
many
feel like
different
there's some
characters.
weeks where like I don't do any of my boss meal because like I just can't bother.
But is that a time constraint, or is that really just like a lack of desire thing?
I think it's a bit of both, because it was just like I don't enjoy it, so then I don't, I guess, make time for it, because I just I don't really like it. And then I'm very bad, but like if I don't like something, I was like, oh, this is a game. If I don't like it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in my experience, that always comes back to what your overall goal is for the game, and whether you are still feeling like that's enjoyable to you, or whether that goal is something that is just being put as a goal on you by the game, just like organically, but like not organically from yourself. Does that make sense? Like it's like an external goal pushed on you because that's just what you're supposed to do, versus that's something that you want to achieve. So I don't know if you looked at the goals like of Saren and everything.
I didn't have boss mode for a very long time until I was kind of like, you know, my friends or my gillies and everybody's like, how are you progressing in this game with no boss meal? I was just like, I don't really like them, so I don't want to make them. And eventually, like when I was pushing my gears and everything,
I mean, you can keep progressing, like, but you have to overpower those hours
of
boss
like
meal with grinding more, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't grind enough either. So then, yeah.
Yeah, then you have to kind
of enjoy grinding more than boss meal. That's
okay. Yeah, that's why I would say
I just watch something on the side.
Yeah, so I would say focus on maybe like 2, maybe 3 like tops boss mules, and just push those far, but don't spread yourself too thin on too many characters, because that comes into play as well with like management and like getting into guilds and doing like culverts and flags, and on top of that, right, that scales up on that stuff as well. So I think it's better to just pick whatever boss mules you have already now that you like the most or dislike the least, or ones that are already funded the most, and hold on to those. And then consider, if you want to, if there's another Hyperburn or something, and there's not really another character you want to play, and there's not that much value for your Legion anymore, maybe consider burning another Demon Slayer, because you already know the character, and you know how to play it and everything, and you'll get funding through the Hyperburn, so you don't have to spend a lot of extra money on it.
I feel like such a waste, though.
I think it's more... Yeah, well, yeah. So, well, that's ultimately up to you, right? If you think the value that it gives to your Legion is higher than it being a boss meal that you won't hate, then that's something you have to decide for yourself. But from what I'm hearing, I think you'll like that setup more, or hate it less. You know, whatever positive or negative outlook you want to have on it. Glass is half full, half empty kind of thing. I know it could feel like a waste, but to me it would be kind of a waste, because I don't mind playing a lot of different characters. I like playing a lot of different characters. But if you hate that, then you just...
I like trying it out, but then I feel like I don't like... I think I did like Dawn Warrior. I tried Nightwalker. I really like it too, but I don't like it enough, I guess. I like it enough, but not enough. I don't know if that makes sense. And then
I mean, you could like it enough. for a
Oh,
boss mule, but then not enough for a main or something, right? I think that's the sweet spot that you're trying to
yeah.
look for. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, Nightwalker might be in that sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I done a wild art with Archer, and that was okay too. If because that mobility is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't. I feel like they don't really have a burst at all.
No, they're very
Like they
DPM
were
heavy. Yeah, very DPM heavy. Their burst is
very
basically
DPM
origin.
heavy.
Yeah. Which is good now, I
And okay,
think, with the new Lotus. I think is good to be DPM heavy because then you're just basically constantly bursting.
yeah,
Right?
that's the thing about all my hyperbird. I just leave them at like 51 because I was like, I'm not gonna unlock stuff on them. Like I don't want to get them to 260 because I
Gotcha.
have to play them till 260.
Well, for characters that are stuck at 250, because I had kind of the same thing. Like, the first two hyperburns were only up to 250 as well, right? And I had a lot of 250 sitting on my account. And my idea was basically, if I want to make sure that these characters can all do hard Lotus and below very easily, and maybe do stuff beyond that, if I ever want to, my idea was like, I am just going to get them slowly up to 255, not by training because I don't like the grinding on the side characters, but just with like event exp. And the main things is using the Tenebris dailies, like Moonbridge, Labyrinth, right? Those guys, and Monster Park, and use that to get daily exp on those characters. Slowly get them up to 255, and then just start libbing. Just start like looking for exchange for Black Mage, and just slowly start working on Liberation, and then basically get all of them to 255 until they got to that point. So for me, that was 10 other characters. For you, that would probably only be 2 or 3. And then once they start Liberation, then slowly go back to them in the order that I want, and then slowly work them up to 260 like that. And the idea just that by the time you get to like hard Damien, you could probably do a hard Lotus up to hard Damien with decent amount of funding, kind of long runs, but like without your origin even. But past that, you just want the origin to be able to do the liberation quests, right? And then by the time you're libbed and you can do some of the runs and hopefully get some special rings at that point, then you can really look at how much funding does this character really need to do the bosses I want to do, because with the liberated weapon and having the time, invested in that, plus some special rings from some of the harder bosses, if you get some pickup groups, if you get some duos, some trios, some exchange carries, whatever, you'll be able to really see how much more funding is needed on a character, and then fund them accordingly to do what you want to do. Instead of first do like, I have to invest 50 bill, and then hopefully I can do the bosses, and then
I've tried that.
And then you don't really like the character, and it's like, fuck, now all this money is invested, right? And you feel like you have to, and then you start not doing it out of resistance because I don't want to do what I don't want to do. And then it's like, well, I guess I'll do FAMs, and then you don't hit FAMs, and it's like, I'm spending all this time, I'm getting nothing. Is that...
Okay,
that sounds,
I'll try that.
So that's a much of long-term approach, but I think just specifically, right? Yeah. So I would say just try to make that list for yourself. So I think Wind Archer and Nightwalkers are really good picks there. Because Nightwalker also has the decoy. You got Wind Archer also has the decoy. You got a good DPM. You have good survivability as well.
I already planned my hyperburn. I think for winter I want to do Ilium because they sound cool.
Okay.
They look cool. And they keep getting buffed.
Yeah, I think they're criminally underplayed. I think Ilium is amazing class. It's not super simple, so that's probably why people don't gravitate towards it. It has like a pretty high skill ceiling, but it's a great class. Yeah. So I think if you focus on like those 3 or something, then I think you'll have a good Then have your solid roster, and then your main. And then if you have, any time available, then you can just say, well, I'm fuck the familiars for now. I'm just going to focus on EXP as well, because I still want to keep progressing towards 285 eventually, if you want to keep doing those bosses solo that we were talking about.
Okay, that sounds good.
We got here through your initial question of the Eternal pieces. Is the Eternal path kind of like clear as well, or did you have additional questions on that?
I think what I'm going to do is get one piece to 22 and just basically then work on the other 2. I think, or like 21 even.
Yeah, I think that's solid.
I feel like when I do 21, then I'm just gonna get. I would just want to tap one day one night when I'm making that decision. So I just would want to tap. Because I think that's what happened. Like, okay, how I went about my gear is
Mm-hmm.
I got. I think at the beginning I didn't really have any goals, so I was just kind of like. I think I played since like Flame Compensation, and I've been playing for very long. Like not
That's a
okay, not
while.
as long as you, but
I
it's
think that's
been
like
a
three and a
while.
half years or so.
Yeah, but then I don't like play because I guess consistently enough, but not very, very, very casual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then, um, sorry, what am I saying now? I forgot.
How you went about getting your equips to where they are.
Yeah, so I got everything to like 17, then I got everything to 21. I didn't get, yeah. And then after 21, that's how I got everything. And then I got everything to 22. So I feel like now, once I've got everything to 22, I just want to do. I remember being at 21 and like the like what do you call it? The not I wouldn't get anxiety, but like being at 21 was like, oh, just one more star, kind of.
Well, I get the concept. Like, it feels weird to go down in stars, but to consider it an upgrade, I guess, when it's not like finished. I think for your first pieces, it's normal to be a bit more conservative. And then once you do the harder boss fights and you get a bigger influx in backups, then you can start getting more risky. I feel, but yeah, it is counterintuitive for these pieces that I think on average you'll have fewer booms if you just try to make all three of them 19 first. But the wait time until you can switch over is super long. But then on average, by the time you get three pieces, you get 122, and then you can switch. But someone else who waited the whole time, by that time will have 319 pieces, and they will also switch. And they might be as strong or maybe stronger. But then they'll be set up for a different situation, right? Because the follow-up when you have everything at 19 is what do you do now? Whereas, so I got my first piece to 22, and then my follow-up was the next two pieces I'm just going to get to 17, and then switch and be force set with the liberated
Yeah, I feel
weapon.
like that's what most people do, right? Like
Yeah, but then
22 and then 17, 17.
yes,
But
but
then
that's the
I know some people
ideal.
never get the 22.
Yes, exactly, right? So then there are people who go like 0 for 14 on getting that first 22. Like, what I think it's a good idea to also think about that scenario. Like, what would be the highest amount of booms on the 22 that you'd be willing to deal with before you say, I'm going to go 21, or maybe I will keep three pieces and go 19. Like, just to think about the contingency, right, in case it doesn't go. Not to be negative, but just to be realistic, because there's a very realistic chance that it booms. Like, because my Demon Avenger, for example, tried to do the same thing, and then had saw 21 twice, but didn't go to 22. And now I'm at 3 booms on the DA with nothing on there, versus the Arc, with the exact same 3 pieces, is switched over to a 22 and 2 17s. So that's like 2 characters, same odds, but a completely different outcome. So that's the other beautiful thing about this game, is that you can have such a great plan on how you're doing things, but RNG can just throw a monkey wrench in the wheels, and then you'll have to do something completely different. So that's
Yeah, I think people go
yeah.
for the hat because hat has single income too, right? Because top and bottom you can get it from piling as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think people you don't do shoulder before because arcane shoulder is kind of already strong though.
Yes, for most people, even if they have the shoulder completely done right now, it's not worth switching because of the set differences, and basically because there's no flame gains, so that makes the shoulder switch worse. But it's good to already, if you're at that point of the game, to already make it and have it ready for when Limbo comes out. So then, because then the switch is going to be worth it once the set bonus of the arcane pieces is going to be completely replaceable. But yeah, we'll need to run Limbo forever for that as well, because there's going to be 3 equips from one boss, which makes it even harder. Because and that's the only boss that
they drop box, right? But even though that's hard, nobody's gonna get there yet.
I mean, it's still earlier than I remember the switch from arcanes existing to arcanes becoming reasonable to actually achieve was a process that, in my recollection, took way longer. So I think they're still kind of speeding up that process, but speeding up and being fast are 2 very different things. So it's not necessarily something that you can easily jump into and rely on. I think the best thing you can do is just do the hardest version of the boss that you think you can realistically do. And if you don't get a run that week or whatever, just try to do the weaker one in a pug, and it just makes steady progress. And then when an event comes around, look at what you have, and then see if it's realistic for you to, if you feel like taking the chance or not. Because money becomes a really big factor, and this is probably why people are saying, like, how are you progressing in this game, right? Because if you're Star Forcing CRA, it's all kind of cheap. Star Forcing Arcane is doable. Like, once you get past 19 stars, that get pretty expensive. But if you're doing it mainly on events, it's still doable. 21 to 22 Arcanes can be a nightmare. I'm hoping it wasn't for you. But Eternals are just hella expensive. Eternals, even on events, will just bleed you dry. Like, there's horror stories of people who just spent 200 bill on a single piece and just didn't even get it to go, and like the money, 200 bill is just gone. You know, I think most of the time you will only spend up to like 40 to 45 bill per piece max. Either it's gonna have gone or boomed, either way. But still, that's a decent amount of money. So that's why some people also don't have the luxury of like waiting until they have a whole bunch of pieces, because their income is not there. So, but as long as the income and how much you want to tap is congruent, then I think you're playing the game what is for you in a good way. You know, if you want to tap all the time but you're not making money, you have to either tap less or you have to make more money, right? Like there's a disconnect there. Yeah, I think normal culling, e-culling party should be very doable for you. But yeah, definitely make sure that you can fit it into your schedule. I've heard that like pugs for normal Kalos e-culling have been getting a lot better as well. But since you said you like the experience for culling, might be a good idea to do some practice runs with some people, or advertise it at least as that, as like e-culling first time practice, something like that, so that you have a good Yeah, like I said, I'm setting up party as well, so I can put you on the maybe list. I'm just like checking who's even available right now, and then probably gonna check availability and time schedules soon to kind of see like when anyone can play. So if you're interested, just send me on Discord. I can put you on the list.
Okay. Also, I think one of my questions is, right now I just switched to Berserk, like I think a week into winning the session, and so I lost the 10 boss from Dawn set. I was thinking, do I need to go into Daybreak or not?
You have quite a lot of Daybreaks, right? Yeah, I've got like 7. So what's what is your second pennant you're using Sweetwater?
Sweetwater.
Yeah, and you got like the old transposed. Yeah, it is 22. That is pretty nice. And the flame is good. I guess the lucky quote-unquote situation here is that you haven't like fully perfected your potential yet, so there is some money saved in the transition there. I believe for most classes it's around the same or a slight increase, because you know the Daybreak is only level 140, so you do lose some raw stats there, but it's really like a set bonus versus raw stat kind of situation. Boss damage lost a little bit of value, and like with the event buffs, it always loses a little bit more value, because of the Legion artifact system, right? I'm losing FD and then getting into damage there instead. Yeah. But I believe that if you can make a 22 Daybreak, that it would be an increase. I don't know if you still need like a strong drop or meso pendant, because this would be a...
That's the thing, I feel like, as a Demon Slayer. Because our second Hexa is our mobbing skill.
Yeah.
As well as with TP farm, you don't want to kill in the first hit, you want to kill in the second hit.
Yeah.
Because then if you're too strong, then that would never happen.
Yeah. You want to be in that sweet spot, right, where you kill like 75% or something.
Too strong, but then you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Sacred Power and Sacred Power is such a weird thing, because it builds up very slowly in the beginning. You have to do dailies and weeklies for dailies and weeklies. You have to do dailies and level for so long until you get enough for the first bosses, for Saren and for easy Kalos. But then once you have that and you just keep doing your dailies, you move on to having like enough Sacred Power to do extreme culling like so quickly that then it becomes completely obsolete. So it's not as much a limiter typically as arcane power was when you go to a new area and suddenly it's like, oh my god, there's so much more that I need. Also because arcane power works with percentages and sacred power works with flat amounts, right? So I think you will get to you'll still, if you go to like the highest level monsters in a new area, once you get to 280, they'll still be quite a bit stronger. But yeah, I don't foresee you needing the damage for that. So I think it's more boss damage min max. You could ask other demon slayers to know like specifically how much. So typically 10% boss damage would be worth like flame score wise like around 150. So if you can math out like how much you're losing in potential stat, how much you're gaining in potential stat versus the set bonus, you could map out for yourself if it would be an increase. I think like just looking at it, I think it would be beneficial to switch to Daybreak, if I had to guess.
Another one scenario I
yeah.
was thinking is if I hit on like soft or what's the other one I'm missing? Emblem. Then instead of going into pendant, if I switch out my sub, would it be weird to invest in a stellar earring?
I always see that I think a stellar earring can be something to move into. So that's one of those things that I would like define as a sideways upgrade, where you can definitely make one strong enough for it to be an upgrade, but the question I will always have is it enough of an upgrade to warrant the expense? Like that's like the big question. So I think you could in that situation, like if you were to, but well, if you hit the source, then that still wouldn't be necessary, right? Because then you could just go source and Daybreak to keep the set that way. Because then the Daybreak will still overpower the superior, because like on its own the Sweetwater probably overpowers the superior, right? So if the Daybreak is overpowering the Sweetwater, it's also overpowering the superior if the set bonus is lost.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So, but yeah, you could say like if you hit the, well, there's nothing else to hit, right? If you hit if you hit the emblem and then equip the belt, that you would want to make the Estelle earrings, right? That would be the only situation.
Yeah, because I think one of my guineas just
or badge, I guess.
They have everything else, but like they don't have CFE. So then they use it with stellar earrings.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be an upgrade. Yeah, that could be an upgrade to do, because it is also level 160, so the bonus stats are quite nice on it. And it gives you the set bonus. But I think that's why most people prefer to go for Daybreak, because then even if you do hit the source, you still keep it, because it eventually still is better.
So Daybreak is BIS at the end, basically. Is that what you're saying? They kind of.
Sorry, say that again?
Is basically Daybreak is like game than Sweetwater.
Yeah, I think so. You'd have to look at mathematically. I think classes that have very low value for damage, because they already have a lot in their kit, plus they have a really, really good flame on their Sweetwater, and they can maybe and they have like perfect 3-line or already like double prime. I think at that point Daybreak is like skippable. But for most other classes, it's always Daybreak. Plus, with the current meta and like how the game is set up, eventually like double priming Daybreak plus even 23 starring is something that eventually gets on the table. Whereas 23 starring Sweetwater will, I mean, though technically better, I don't know if anyone has the patience of a saint that much to do Commercy that often, you know. Though I think the scalability there is actually technically better than on Daybreak Pendants, but that is the problem is if you don't hit, like you have to make a 22 Daybreak to fall back on, because then when you don't hit, you are stuck with like a 17 star, right? Because you have to go on the item, whereas with Daybreak you could technically make another one on the side, and if it doesn't go, you just keep your current one equipped.
Yeah. Okay. So basically there's no use for Estella earrings. I like how they look, so that I really want to use them.
Well, you can always anvil them, right? And then you can just pretend like you 22 to want to be done with it. I mean, I imagine you're wearing Superior forever now, so maybe it's time for a switch up, you know? Some new drip. They do look kind of cool, yeah, that's true. Too bad, yeah. Some of the items look really cool, but then they just don't have a visual on the character, so It's kind of wasted. How do you feel about the Eternal gear look?
God, the warrior one is awful.
Yeah. I don't know. They always look like you're supposed to be impressed by them, but they also look like you would get bored of them in a day or two and want to cover them with NX.
I like how the archer one looks. The archer one looks so cool.
The hat looks really cool, right?
Yeah, the hat looks so cool.
You're gonna need to get some extra pieces if you want to anvil, though. That's for a little bit
God.
further in the game.
I mean,
Like
I thought about the same thing about Arcane at some point because
Yeah.
I like how like the other class hats look and like I feel like warrior has the worst look. Okay, they
Yeah.
just do.
You guys got fucked over the hardest, yeah?
Yeah, like arcane mage hat is like very nice.
Yep. I think the pirate
Yeah.
hat looks, Eternal hat looks pretty nice too.
Yeah, anything that's not warrior, okay.
The best thing is the warrior Fafnir hat. That I think that thing is the ugliest, and it messes up every hairstyle as well.
Oh,
So it's just
yes.
it's unusable. No, that's when I knew I was horribly behind on arcanes, when people started like buying other stat arcanes just to anvil, and I didn't even get my actual arcane. Like they were already like switching their 22's looks, and I didn't have actual arcanes on yet. I was like, okay, I'm really far behind here. That's like one of those confrontational moments, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. If you had other questions here, we made to make sure. What's after 22 and 3 line? Yeah, well, there's finishing gear, right? So there's endless familiar hunting. There's just endless grinding for levels for damage, and because it's levels and Hexa Matrix. There is just the pitch waiting room, the switch there, and then the eternal switch that even though you're still working up to 22 plus 3 line, but on higher level equips. And then there's double priming, typically like emblem first, then maybe weapon and secondary, or accessories if you are more on a modest budget. And then after that, there's like after that or during events, 5, 10, 15s, or typically during shinings, there's like trying to 23-star certain items. So specifically, that's like the slime ring and the daybreak first, because those are the most replenishable. But it couldn't be pitches if you have already hit 22, because then you have nothing left to lose, so people just send those. And the endgame people now are at the 23ing Eternal stage, basically. Because they're doing Sikalos hard calling, and they've got full 22, so they're just sending those.
Oh yeah, another thing was like, because now there's countering, do you need the fourth that ring at all or no? Is it
Oh
just,
yeah,
like,
so
no?
So you don't need it. You can wear it when you're AFK for more combat power, right? So that you get more Legion coins. But
I feel like I'm just gonna forget to switch it back.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I have done that before.
It's essentially unnecessary at this point, yeah. And that's what you're gonna do with like side characters that you're funding as well. Depending on how far you're gonna fund them, you might get to the point as well where some of them you really only work on 3 rings, and then you use some random crappy or like a low-level event ring in the 4th slot just until they hit some kind of special ring, and then switch that out.
Okay, so basically I can just switch it to Mesa gear.
Oh yeah, if it's something that you need, like extra meso drop to complete your sets or hybrid or something, then yeah, you could switch it out.
I think some of my hybrid are still event rings, so then
Mm-hmm.
if I can just switch that out, then
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to switch out as many as you need to maintain just like your kill potential, and then you can always switch out later extra when you hit your pitches.
Also, right now I can't equip any spirit. I can equip spirit pendant, but when I
gotcha.
do, I lose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then I was thinking I will double prime the corner ring, the spare one that I have, and then so I can just then get rid of one pendant, kind of. So then, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's reasonable.
Okay. What's after that?
Eternal,
Yeah, okay,
Stella, Sweetwater, Daybreak. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would you settle for, fam? Or what would be a good settle point? I feel like I don't know that.
For familiars?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's good for like your mental health to set like a max of how many or how long you're gonna be there. Because if you really feel like you want to be doing those bosses, soloing those bosses that will require 285, I think at the most I would like let my like if I'm looking at it, I would at most let myself level to 280, but like that might already be way too long for some people. Might be too long for you. You could set a maximum amount of how many levels you want to do. I think what would be better is just in the moment, if you're like, I just don't feel like doing FAMs at all, but I know that it's good for my character, just spend that time grinding for EXP and for Hexa instead, because even though you're not getting the potentiality for the FAMs, you're still getting damage for your account by getting fragments and by getting towards level, unless you're like at 280. I think it's like when people surpass like level 287 or 288, if at that point you don't have like 30%, like at least 90% damage from FAMs, at that point I feel like you're kind of griefing. But unless you're, yeah, like maybe like 286, 287 or something, that would be like the highest that I would probably ever consider going without having the boss FAMs. Because you can get that far, right? You can get the Eternals, you can hit, you can get pitches. You're already well on the way with pitches, so there's no huge problem there. You have your special rings and all of that. You're not going to be as reliant on them. It's just more the mathematics of amount of hours spent getting fragments plus
I feel
familiars.
like, yeah, apart from level, frag, that's basically just FAM now, right? 'Cause
yeah, it's FAM plus frag plus or EXP plus frag. That's the equation that you're looking for. So I think if the bosses you're trying to focus on right now is like normal Kalos, E-Kaling, and Seren, then you can hardcore focus now on familiars because you're strong enough for those bosses and you don't need more levels and you have the sacred power and all of that. So I think you have a free ride for just, you have a good excuse and you're still working on your Hexa when you're going for the familiars anyway. So it's not like you're making no progress if you don't hit cards. But if you are starting to feel more like I want to look towards normal Kaling, C Kalos, and towards extreme Saren and maybe extreme BM, then the levels are going to be, the levels plus the fragments is going to be better value. So then I would tilt that balance a little bit towards, but the hopes is that you hit at least like 1 or 2 boss FAMs by that time. By the time you hit like 280, or by the time you feel the need to like start scaling up.
Wait.
Yeah.
I hope. So right now I have about 500 fragments saved up, so not that much. But I was thinking, should I invest in Soul Janus or should I just basically carry on with my Hexa? Because I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's really if you're looking for the EXP versus the well, you already have kind of a lazy grind method that you can do with DS, right?
Yeah, I do. That's true. But yeah, I feel like
the flat EXP.
It'll be even better.
Yeah, I think with how strong you are and with the bosses that you're looking at to do, I don't think you need the damage as much right now. So I think it would be fine to put the fragments and the materials right now into Soljanus, at least to like level 10, so you can get that. The base EXP only goes up a little bit up to 10. It's not too crazy. Basically everything is in like the last 10 levels. But it's just to get that second summon, so that when you get to 280, you'll have the possibility to completely lazy farm like endlessly if you want to. And then, you can watch anime or watch movies or whatever at the same time and still get very decent rates, and it won't feel as bad if you don't hit on FAMs, or if you don't, you don't have to be as emotionally invested in every single hour of of grinding, which can be good. You have the option to, at least, right? And I think you can get away with that because you don't need the damage right now, because your V matrix already looks good, and if you look at the other stats and what you're able to do, you're already like well equipped to do the bosses around your level now. It's really when you make that next big jump, right, up to that next big group of bosses that I just mentioned. So I would say probably get the Soljanus to 10, just to get that base EXP higher as well, and to open up your options, and then I would probably cycle back into the regular scheduled programming.
So right now, my what do you call it? Shower is one-shotting, and then I have the Janus. So then I have like 2 summons, so it's like okay, it's not that, it's like not horrible.
No, definitely not.
But,
and yeah, until then you can have Dusk, right? Dusk is also really good, right?
I've never tried Dusk before.
You never used Dusk? Okay.
I don't even know it. I don't know what it does.
It's like when you're mobbing, if you hit a monster, it activates, and then it like zaps 8 monsters or so randomly across the map on like a 3-second cooldown.
Oh, so 3-second cooldown, so you can get 16 in one
well, I don't know the exact number, but it kills a lot of monsters. It's really, really strong. Like when I'm jumping around on my DA, it's just like I do 2 AoEs and everything just dies. And it has a really big range as well. Someone in chat said Dusk might be better if you're TP farming. It's really good at picking up those stragglers that are kind of like out of your range, out of your attacks, because it has such a long range around your character. So I would consider switching to Dusk and just see how that feels. Because maybe if that feels good enough for you, your training already feels good enough, and then maybe you want to put the fragments into...
the best thing for TP farming, I think, is just the fact that I don't have to loot at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the vac pad, right? You need the vac pad upgrade probably. But
yeah, I do, but I don't need that if I TP farm, because I don't have to move anyway. So...
Yeah, some people in chat are saying that if you're not using Dusk right now, I would consider using it. So you just activate the Soljanus and you pick the other option, and it'll just be passively on all the time. You don't have to put it on a button to summon it either. And it's just like an extra final attack with like a really long range around the map that just triggers all the time.
Yeah, maybe I'd try it. The thing is, I don't do BA when I train because it makes me depressed. It used to make me depressed because I used to get... I think at the beginning, like in Lemina, I used to not full clear and then whatever, and then I got really low kill rate compared to everybody else.
Yeah, you hear.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do BA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was just like, nope. I'm
understandable.
not gonna do BA with training anymore because it makes me depressed and make me not want to train.
You can always use the BA just to compare with yourself, right? Instead of comparing with other people. I find that to be more productive. What I always try to aim for is something like 90+% of the max capacity. I'll never look at, because you can look at those max capacities, but you're always going to pick up some stragglers here and there. You're always going to be buffing here and there. You know, you have portals, you have, I don't know, looting, you have an elite boss and you go for the orbs, you know. It's never going to be perfect. So usually I try to aim for like 90 to up to 95% on the smaller maps of the map capacity. And then, but if you're trying to compare, like, you know, is one version of Soljanus better than the other, if you go Dusk or Dawn, then you can compare to your own rates, even if you just do like 10 minutes or something and just compare 10 minutes with the one versus 10 minutes with the other. I think you can already see if there's a significant difference, then you might consider switching, and if there isn't, then you can just do whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Okay. Also, I was gonna... I feel like this is a bit more specific, but I think Hexa have like 2 routes, one with like full rotation and one with like burst heavy. I was thinking with the boss I'm going into and like party setup, it might be better to go the burst route rather than the full rotation, like DPR basically.
Yeah, I mean, it could be if you were like barely meeting the requirements, but again, yeah, if you do the Scouter, you'll be able to see that more clearly if you're like close to that or way over. But it would be my guess that you're like way overjuiced right now to do like normal Kalos, easy calling, and even Heart Siren. You could probably Heart Siren solo. I'd probably say like the min. I've had to guess you're probably like 110 to 120% of like the min cut of Heart Siren. Maybe we can double check if mine is still up somewhere. Is this mine? Yeah. check the... Oh, whoops. It's not the best. Not completely right, but... For me, for a hard Seren... Yeah, I'm at like 300% with my damage. Like, mathematically, I'm pretty sure you're like way ready for all of those. And I wouldn't be looking at... Isn't normal Catalyst like 120 mil plus? Yeah, she's at 210, so... I don't think you need to worry about that. I think that's more if you're trying to push towards, again, like that bigger group. So like that next group of like C Kalos, Extreme BM, normal...
I think N Kalos, the reason why I didn't go into it is I didn't have any raw for the longest time. I think I only got it like last month, or like, not even last month. I think the first time I made the spreadsheet, I didn't have it. I only have Con 3, and within the 2 weeks,
I think I saw Roar 2 here.
Waiting for the section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only have Raw 2. I kept it because that was like, you know. But then I think Raw 2 is basically same as Con 3. Yeah, I just kept it because it was my first Raw. But yeah, before that, I didn't have any rings. So then that's why I didn't get into N Kalos, because I just feel like I didn't have enough damage when I tried to do the BA.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, but now, yeah, jumping from a Roar 2 to a Roar 4 is a huge jump, though. So I think now you gotta be... I mean, not quite at that point yet, but there's like, at that point when normal Kalos, when people are there too long and they might be looking towards C Kalos, but they don't quite want to do those long runs, or the more challenging runs with more mechanics.
One thing about normal Kalos, what happened is, like, if you even try to do pub and they see you under like 280, they just kick you out. So that doesn't... I'll probably have to find like a proper party for that not to happen.
I mean, yeah, you lose a little bit of damage, but I'm betting that they will... Right now, I think they can click on you and see your stats as well, like your player screens. If they see you're liberated and you see you have 200 mil combat power, if they could choose between that or someone who's 280 but has like 120 mil, they're picking you every time, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it might depend on how many people are applying, right? If there's 10 people applying and you're the lowest number, then yeah, they might decline you, but I think you have a really good chance of getting in there.
Okay.
Was she libbing? She libbed 2 days ago. Or, I guess, technically 1 day ago, because probably September lib, right? You mean?
No.
Like right after reset, or?
I was supposed to be... I was supposed to do it.
August 31st lib?
I've been trying for like... Yep.
Okay. So you're soloing again this month for easy money, and then...
For the achievement. For the achievement, yeah.
And then you're bringing some red dot other people to exchange carry so you can start libbing on your boss mules?
That's the thing. None of them can do it because I'm not even 255 in any of them. They're all 251.
Yeah. And you could try to math out with the... Have you ever used the Maple ranks?
No.
You can use that to kind of gauge how long it will roughly take you to level a character to your estimated goal, based on like how much EXP they get per day.
Oh, that one, yeah. I've tried. They said that if I do my daily every day and whatever, then by October I'll be 280. But yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But I think more specifically to the 250s, right? The ones that you want to do, like you said, I think the Nightwalker and the Wind Archer. If you just like attack one at a time, and I would say if you do Arcane Symbol dailies, and I would do Arcane Symbol weeklies on both, but dailies only on one. If you have time, you can do two, of course. And then just pick one character to do all the Tenebris dailies that you can, so probably just the first two, and then just the furthest monster park you can, and that's it, no more. I think you will find that you will reach 255 pretty quickly, because you can also throw like magnificent growth potions at it, right? And maybe EXP tickets as well if you don't have anything else that you're working on, and you can speed up that level up to 255. You can get that quite quickly. You could probably get at least one done before the end of the month. Two will be pushing it probably, but you know, it's a long-term approach, right? So the faster you can get up to 255, the faster they can start libbing, more quickly you can pull the date towards you, where you can actually start seeing that really big funding happen. And since you have a character that can solo, you can start doing the exchange lib. The other people will just have to, be able to survive the longer runs, but that's just a part of the price of getting a carry, right?
I don't know. I've never thought about.
It's something to consider.
Before.
I'm not saying you have to put that pressure on yourself right now, but since you did seem open to the idea of working towards liberating on the characters, I think the sooner you can start like cashing in on your solo potential on your main. And the great thing now is that you won't get the achievement, right, if you bring someone with you. So maybe you start doing that next month. But if you can see if you can get them all to 255 for next month, and see if you can line up some exchange carries, maybe people in the guild or something, or in your alliance, then that can be valuable. Or I have exchange carries available as well. I always have a bunch of characters that need runs. So, but yeah, for the challenge you'll have to full solo. But if you can pick up experienced characters that can red dot and maybe support you here and there, maybe use an origin for a bind here and there, but they will stay red, right? You still get the full money as well. So that's like a more valuable way, later on in cashing in even more in the potential on your main for the value for your whole account.
Okay. Okay. That sounds like a plan.
Okay. I think we went.
Another thing. Can I
Yeah.
basically just stop doing Hellux now?
No, because you don't have your 22 source yet.
No, but I have.
Yeah,
I think
you need more.
okay amount of.
Okay, so there's two main ways, right? Some people do like you keep the dominators 21, 20 superior, tap to 21, 20 source, and then try to tap the source to 22. That's pretty high risk. If you keep doing Hellux, you keep getting coins, you keep doing Arc, you keep getting more items. What you will be able to do is just go 22 superior into 21 source, and then if the source doesn't tap up to 22, make another 22 superior, transfer it again, and only tap 21 to 22 on a source. It's really expensive and it's really time intensive, but this is the highest rates that you can give yourself to getting a 22 source. And it is rare drop, and it is possible that you just see one after like 2 years and then you never see one again, right? So to optimize your chances,
How much top pendant do you need?
as many as possible. I've seen people fail the tap like 8 times. I got it on one character on the first one, on the other character on the second one. So overall, that was definitely under average. I think you have 4 now, right? And you could buy 2 more.
Oh, I think I can buy. No, I think now I can buy 3 more.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can buy 3 at this point. Yeah, there it comes a little bit down to how many DOMs you have and how many daybreaks you have to transfer. So that's another thing. Like if you hit the 22 daybreak now, then you can also see the rest of the daybreaks that you have available as backups, as basically as extra DOMs, right? And then that'll help you in terms of whether you need to see whether you're going 22 Dom or Daybreak into 21 Superior and then tapping from 21 Superior, or if you just 21 to 20 tap every time. But that'll come down to in the moment.
Do you normally safeguard Dom? Do you normally safeguard Dom?
Yes, I would always safeguard, because if it's such a big potential project. So the way I think about it, like if you don't have a lot of items, the individual item is more valuable, and then you safeguard, right? Because you have to, because you don't have backups. Then when you're like in the intermediate, where you kind of have a decent amount of backups, and you also have kind of an okay amount of money, I think then it's fine to not safeguard as many times, because you know it'll probably just work out anyway. But when it's one of these projects where it could be months and months and months of like backing up these items, or years of like backups that you could just blow in one entire event, but you have a lot of money, I think it's worth just safeguarding every one of them, just to make sure you minimize the chances of failing in that upgrade. Because once you do succeed on this upgrade, you're like completely done. And I think it's worth the extra money. But that's how I think about it. I think at this point, I guess we get more materials, and you could craft extra DOMs quite a bit. The confusion fragments are probably the bottleneck now, and they have increased the drop rate now for confusion fragments, so that should start picking up again. But I think because you could potentially run out of backups, as crazy as it looks with how many you have, because you could run out, I think it's always worth safeguarding at that point and just spending the extra money to minimize that chance, for me personally.
Okay.
Isn't 21 source usable? It is, but when she's already going to be like 7 set or 6 set and 7 set with it, I think you want to go 22 to be able to fully move into it, I think. But you could also say, like, let's say that you get, I don't know, let's say that the 21 to 22 tap fails every time, and you make one last 22 superior, and you can't afford any more superiors after that. You run out of coins that you then settle on the 21 source eventually, right? But I don't think you want to, given what you've said so far, I don't think you would personally want to stand on a 21 source if you have superiors and dominators and money left, right?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Very, no, it is a very.
No, I
point.
settled for 21.
No.
I settled for 21 EP for a long time, and then it was because I think it was the only pitch. It's supposed to be like an okay upgrade if you leave it at 21 until you get on the next one.
And it's level 200,
and
right? You're usually replacing like.
It haunts me for so long. It haunts me for so long. And then one day I just decided to tap, but luckily it went.
Yes, very luckily, yeah. I'm still looking for one of those on my arc. I still haven't seen one there.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a decent idea now. Okay.
Okay, decent. That was my goal. Decent idea. That's an upgrade.
I mean, it sounds bad, but I'm also still one of those where if I don't feel like it, I just won't do it.
Yeah. No, I know. That's why I usually, with these sessions, I just try to give people options, my input, and then it's still up to you ultimately, to decide what you want to do. Or as long as you're aware of the options and you make your decision based on that, then I think that's always better than to just do whatever you feel like doing or what someone somewhere you heard, because that could be outdated, could be whatever. So I think now you have an idea of what I would do and what I think your options are. And then, I just wish you good luck on everything and I hope it works out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all my questions. Oh, okay, one last thing.
One last one, okay.
Can I get rid of all my slime ring?
I would say no. So, because like I said before, like you were asking about what comes after 22 and 3 lining, right? I think 23ing eventually becomes an option, and slime rings, especially because of how many you have, would actually be a reasonable thing to start working towards. I think on average it's like 60 booms or so, so it's not gonna come cheap. But it is one of the items that is the most likely to get towards the 23 Star Force the quickest. If you're struggling with like inventory space, I think like the Estelas would probably be stuff to get rid before that, and the kind of treasure rings. I think at this point, if you have 22 slime and 22 superior and a 22 kind of treasure ring, then you can actually start getting rid of those, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I basically just have to clean up my inventory a bit.
A little bit, yeah. And there might be some items that you're still holding on to that are kind of like nostalgia items that. Yeah, that you maybe don't need anymore. Or I don't know if you're using all 3 of your presets. You might also be able to put like, this is something I realized recently. You could maybe also put your androids that you have spare in different equip presets. That way you can still hold on to them, but as long as they all work with the same heart, you won't lose them.
They don't, right? Because it's weed very hard.
Is it a 1 droid?
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it! Why did you have to get a 1? Damn. Okay, that won't work for you.
I
It'll
only
work
got
for
it
you.
on 2 characters, okay? I got it for this character and Connor.
It'll work for you once you get your black heart, because that one doesn't work with the 1 droid, so you have to switch, and then you can equip 3 of them. So that'll create 2 extra slots.
Oh, that's good.
There you go. I guess Did you have a 22 Twilight?
Yeah, I do. That might make a switch to drop.
Yeah, you could make a 21 or 22 drop, but then we.
But then, like I said, I feel like I can't switch it to drop here because then I'll be too strong for TV farming.
Yeah. Oh, struggling from success so hard. It must be Must be so hard being you. Like, oh no, I'll have too much damage. What am I gonna do with all of this extra DPS? Oh no. Well,
I
that's
got
yeah,
lucky.
it's okay to look at equips that way and like see if they're gonna have future perspective. Oh, you have extra arcane weapons. You can get rid of those. You're
Oh
liberated.
yeah.
Fuck those things. Bam. Inventory space. Berserk Trace. I don't know if you want to hold on to that. I guess that's not as useful. Critical damage ring 2 you can probably just drop. That's not gonna do anything for you, right?
No.
There's a few things you can get rid of. But I think God of Treasure Rings, that makes some space. And what you can do, what some people do, is they prep a 22 Superior for the source swap already if there's an event and they have disposable income. Because that keeps the inventory space clean as well.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that because I was just saving up for my lib. But now, yeah, I can probably do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just throwing suggestions out there.
Yeah.
Ultimatum Ring 4. Yeah, you got to keep all those 4s, man. You don't know when they're going to be relevant.
I just... Okay, I didn't have it for a long time, okay? So I just kept, like, all the nice, shiny level 4.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's nice and sparkling and shiny, right? So... The purple sparkles look way better than the orange one next to it. You can barely see those.
I like orange better.
Okay. Well, you didn't have to do my boy purple like that. Damn. Okay. What about the arcane gear? Yeah, what about the arcane gear? It's like orangey, gold, and purple together. Is that?
Nah.
Is it a no?
I don't know. I don't like purple.
Okay. Thank God she likes purple, Chad. Okay. Cool. Any last question, or was that the last question?
Yeah, that was the last. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're interested in the Kaling and the Kalos party, let me know on Discord. If not, that's fine too. If you want to find your own party, but yeah, we'll check with availability first and see if it's even possible. You know. But yeah, I wish you best of luck in 2 weeks, 5, 10, 15. So you'll probably be able to send some things. Hopefully the pendant goes and all of that. But yeah, maybe do the Scouter, the Maple Scouter, if you want to, just to get a better idea of like where you are with the percentiles for the bosses. But I'm sure the ones we mentioned, you're way above.
I'll probably do that.
So yeah,
That's two versions, right? One Korean one and one normal.
No, it's the same one, but there's like a translation. There's like a translation button on the website on the top right, so it'll just switch all the terms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If there's like an error in the stats or something, it could be from your familiars, and you might have to do like the specific stat calculation for GMS. But if everything goes well, then you don't have to do that, and you get your results pretty quickly.
Thank you.
All right. Best of luck, and I'll see you around.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Alrighty then. Amazing. Okay, so it took us a while, a week and a half, I think, to finally get the session done, but we got through it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, any comments, any remarks, let me know. We got 54 floating points. Put those in attack. I just noticed that. Oh my god, 54 points. Free attack waiting for you. Imagine a DS that doesn't like purple. Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, now that you say that, you have to love purple. Everything is just a oasis of purple whenever you do anything on that character. Level issue 278. Yeah. So, BM solo unlibbed. When you're at that level, you can definitely move on to those harder bosses. Don't feel too bad. We didn't look specifically at all of the stats of the items, but given the state of the game that she is in and the equips that she's moving to, I'm just gonna assume that none of these things are like way out of I'm double checking them now, but like these are like way above average. Like, so it's basically just like the potentials aren't perfected yet on most of the things. That's like the last thing to do. So maybe like November cube sale would be a time to like finish some of these things, but probably better to save money towards Eternals and for a pitch if it comes around. Make sure that you have the money for that lying around and maybe invest it into those stronger boss meals like we were talking about. But yeah, another good example of there is certain things that, the game wants you to do and that you might be able to do, but just because they're available doesn't mean that you have to do them or that they're right for you, right? So if you find yourself not liking boss meals at all, but you do feel like there is some utility to them, and some classes are okay to play. Maybe look for a smaller roster. If you completely hate them, focus on one character and just grind your ass off. If you don't like grinding and you don't like bossing, why are you even playing this game? No, I'm just kidding. Then, you know, just, I would say, figure something out that's fun for you for like collecting or something. Do like monster collection, or do achievement hunting, or do familiar collecting, or something like that. You know, always just find something that's enjoyable for you in this game, and it doesn't have to be, you know, the biggest, baddest, fastest, strongest Minecraft angle. Yeah, the strongest thing that you can possibly have access to around your level or anything. Just, you know, find whatever works for you and what's fun for you. Okay, so hopefully this was at least entertaining, or maybe insightful, or maybe even remotely new information. If you have a bunch of questions, just leave them in the comment section. This was one of the free sessions I gave away per month, so if you want the chance to win one of these sessions, just leave a comment on the YouTube post that will be around the 15th of the month. I do my best to get it out on the 15th, and then usually by the 17th, by the evening, I draw 2 winners. To all the people who leave their Discord name there for me to reach out to you. Last time we only had 10 people that gave up their name, so there was a 20% chance of winning, so that's pretty good. If you want one of these sessions as well, you don't want to wait as long, you can also watch my stream. You can see people over there who've been yapping the whole time. That's the Twitch chat. I stream live over at twitch.tv/Scardor. I stream there every day, so you can be there for the live sessions. You can also ask anything, you know, when you're in the chat, so you can just get your sessions one pace after the other, slowly spread over a longer period of time. But if you need a more structured session, just check !more coaching or the link in the description of the video, and you'll be able to see how you can also get one of these one-on-one sessions with me. It can also be private. Not everyone has to see it. If you want to keep your IGN private or any of that stuff, that's all possible. Yeah, so if you're interested, reach out. If not, maybe check out one of these other videos, or if you want to be there live, check me out on Twitch, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Peace.